We're here because of the C2 conference, obviously, commerce and creativity. Which one has been more of the guiding principle for yourself over your career? Because you've been on both sides.
I think that the creativity, obviously, because what I do is more in that column. But at the same time, I think over the last several years, when I would produce certain things and I was pitching certain things and involved in whatever projects I was involved, the budgetary reality was something I learned more about, and I kind of absorbed that more as I got older. So that now, when I do things, we'll be shooting something, and I'll say, well, this is half a day. Have him pull up in the car. He gets out of the car. He walks in the bank. Let's go. We're not going to luxuriate about that. And trying to understand that's an essential part of it. The two of them go hand in hand.
Was there ever any endeavor that failed because of the lack of money, commerce?
Well, I wouldn't say failed. I mean, there's things that haven't gotten off the ground. There's things that have that did not go to production because of those costs. And I have done a couple of things where the amount of money they gave us, everybody agreed. Particularly the writer-director and his producing partners, and a couple of projects I made, they agreed to make the amount of money, the movie for an amount of money that ultimately they had no business doing. They could never make the movie they promised themselves they were going to make as a result of that. So it can be a problem.
You know, we're seeing a lot of tie-ups in the media industry. For example, Verizon buying up AOL recently. This seems to be the future, but do you think this is a good future we're headed towards?
But I think you're going to see in media, you're going to see a contraction of these things on all fronts. You may end up having one less television network 10 or 15 years from now. You may end up having one less movie studio 10 or 15 years from now, and they get absorbed, whether it's a major or a medium-sized one that's part of a major. I don't think that you may have one less oil company 20 years from now. You know, as people's consumption of oil hopefully goes down in the world, and we change that with renewables on a more accelerated scale, which I think we're aiming in that direction. And media, news. I mean, I don't want to name names, but I can think of a couple of news programs that won't be on the air anymore either. And that's what happens. That's just a part of the evolution, you know, of what happens. There is. I'm trying to think of. You caught me off guard here with this question, but I mean, I was trying to think of something that went out of business recently. What was the show they announced? CSI, the original CSI. And you go along, and these shows run for 10 and 12 and then 15, 16 years, and eventually you get to the point where you think that they're never going to end. Letterman, that's the other one, Letterman.
Right, of course.
And you think, oh my God, the idea of it ending, this never occurred to you. And everything ends. Right. Everything ends. So.
You know, broadcast numbers are falling, broadcast viewers are falling, digital numbers are rising, but they're not really matching. When you decided to get out of 30 Rock, NBC Universal, etc., do you think that was a good time to leave?
Well, I think that it wasn't about us timing it ourselves. The good fortune that we had, along with a lot of other television shows, was that we signed what they called pre-crash contracts. We signed contracts to do network TV shows a couple of years before network television contracts crashed significantly in terms of the numbers. So we did a show and got paid very generously by the network and did the show for 6.5 years. And now television is not across the board, but in many, many instances, it's not as lucrative as it was. The money isn't there, the audience isn't there. But I think that just accepting that there's always change. I mean, if you told me, the thing I've accepted is I have no idea what I'm going to be doing 5 years from now. I really don't. I have some ideas, I have some plans. No, it doesn't really scare me because I think I have a marketable skill.
Maybe a little bit.
But I mean, really, but I don't wake up every day and go, well, there he is, you know, Mr. Marketable Skills.
Powder.
Yes, you know. I don't do that. I wake up as neurotic and as doubtful. Truly, as anybody, I just think, oh God, I wake up every morning going, what am I going to do now to get a job and to make a living? But I think that facing change and not trying to fight the change. You know, I'm the kind of person who, if my career ended if someone said to me, no one wants to do a movie with you anymore, no one wants to do a TV show with you anymore, and my agents called me up and said, we want you to host The Price is Right.
Would you do it?
I'd sit there and say, come on down. I'd start rehearsing in the elevator.
I love The Price is Right. I would be on that.
Thank you.
Bob Barker.
But what I'm saying is you do, when you get your ego out of the way, I think that's when you can really, really have some fun in the business. If you're always worrying about how you're going to look and what's going to happen and what are people going to say, it can be a little suffocating.
Right. You know, late night talk show has seen a sea change. You know, Letterman, Leno, Stewart,
Right.
all gone. Through the lens of comedy, through your own eyes, what does America need in terms of late night talk shows these days?
Well, the question, I think, is will those shows themselves survive 10 or 15
Right.
years from now? Because the late night audience is, it will survive if people stream it, if people watch it after the fact on computers and so forth and on devices. I don't know what the projections are for how many people will be watching TV at 11:30 and 12:30 at night who are not college. Those shows have gone younger. The audiences have gone younger. Who's up that late? I mean, you're a lot younger than I am. I'm asleep by 10:30, hopefully. I got 2 little kids.
I'm asleep around 11.
Yeah, right. But you're probably getting up early to shoot, right? And it's like I think those shows, their audiences are shifting. I mean, I think Letterman left because he was an older guy. And he saw around him that it was, is Kimmel the oldest guy now? Is he like the old man in the crowd?
Like 40.
Yeah, he's like 40, so he's the dean of the whole thing. And Jimmy's young, and Colbert's pretty young. And I just thought that Letterman had done it long enough that, and his numbers were coming down. I mean, he got everything out of it you could possibly get. I mean, he's loved and admired by everybody. And, but I think that the interesting thing is not who the people are that are sitting in those chairs, is whether those chairs will ever even be there 15 years from now. And there'll be another kind of less expensive. Loading that audience in every day into Manhattan and bringing those people in and finding the talent and getting the guests booked for a daily show every night and editing that show and a band and everything they go through, that costs a lot of dough. Those shows cost a lot of dough.
Whether you can just do it on digital and YouTube.
Right. And you wonder, are they going to be able to keep that going? So we'll see.